Hi, Jan Fox here, back at the dhAdvocacy Summit. And I can see your head shaking yes if I ask the question, have you learned a lot already? Am I right? And you have a new best practice to try today, right? Well, we have more coming your way. You heard from Seth Ginsburg, the president of Global Healthy Living Foundation, and he's going to conduct or moderate a panel now for us. And the panelists are Cecilia Aradaza. She's the managing director of Faster Cures. You'll want to hear about exactly what that is. And then also Paul Bove, and he's the digital social media lead at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Both are kind of hard to come by, so we're glad to have them here today, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot. So now let's go to Seth Ginsburg.
Well, we are clearly getting high tech here at the Global Healthy Living Foundation. We want to welcome everybody. My name is Seth Ginsburg, and here we are at FHI 360, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. And on behalf of all of us at Global Healthy Living Foundation, as well as those who are here enjoying the delicious food that we have at the dhAdvocacy Summit, which is quickly becoming one of our trademarks, we also want to welcome all of you tuning in at home from the comfort of either your desk or your couch or your bed or all of the above if you're some folks that like to work from home and you can get away with it. We have an exciting day planned for you today. We're very thrilled here. See, we've been holding a digital health advocacy summit for several years. This is actually our fourth. What sets this one apart a little bit is the opportunity for us now at GHLF to talk directly to you on, in response, I should say, to things that you want to hear about and the things that you want to learn about and the things that you want to talk about. And we want to give a thank you and a nod to our sponsors, the folks at Amgen and Janssen, for their generous support. And up top, want to make note that in no way did the sponsors have any involvement or in the development of today's discussion or the curriculum. You will not be hearing from our sponsors today. They will not be talking to you. Instead, it will be us, Global Healthy Living Foundation, patient advocacy organization, in partnership with all of you, talking about what's important around digital health advocacy and how we can use social media to dramatically advance our causes. And it's going to be a fun day. We're going to have a rapid pace, very quick, one after another discussion around using social media, analyzing our metrics, engaging our audience, and then hopefully as we finish today with our keynote and a discussion from Marvin Amore, how we could all start our own social media revolution and learn from some of the things he did when it came to crashing the FCC website around the net neutrality issue a couple of months ago. Not that we encourage crashing any government website in any form, but we do want to draw down from his best practices and understand how they were so successful in that SOPA issue and then apply the learnings for ourselves in our own environments, our own situation dealing with social media. So I have a couple of housekeeping discussion points here, and I want to make sure we cover off on those as well as take your questions and respond specifically to your issues and the things that you want to talk about. The best, the easiest, and the most efficient way to do that is to tweet to us by tagging dhAdv. So dhAdv is short for dhAdvocacy, and as Amanda mentioned earlier in our Social Media 101 boot camp this morning, those slides and that presentation, of course, will be made available after today's event. When using Twitter, you're limited to 140 characters, so you better make it short and sweet. And that's why we took dhAdvocacy and shortened it to the hashtag DHADV. And when you tag anything you tweet with that hashtag, it will show up here. We have a leaderboard on both sides where those in attendance here, of course, can watch. And then alongside the right side of your screen as you tune in to the web stream live at home. Most importantly, and I think key for all of us here to understand, we are bridging the space-time continuum with today's Digital Health Advocacy Summit. We are live right now, October 20th, 2014, but chances are those of you watching are somewhere in the future. And that means anything that we discussed here today, anything that's been tweeted and tagged with DHADV will be there for you in the future as well. So keep the conversation going. Talk to us with that hashtag. You'll see some fun photos from today. You'll see, of course, today's video, some of the takeaways, and then we're gonna have a really great conversation. I know, speaking of Amanda Frainer and the Social Media 101 Bootcamp, we had a couple of folks here that were in the audience earlier and had the opportunity to learn a bit. And so for those of you who are new to Twitter, we expect this to be where you lose your Twitter virginity. And don't, be shy with all the cameras in the room. What a perfect place to lose your Twitter virginity here at the DHAdvocacy Summit with everybody watching around the world. Okay, steer clear of the virginity jokes. We have an opportunity as well to talk about some of the other pressing issues facing all of us in the area of social media. And we're going to talk about those in just a couple minutes, specifically as it relates to Facebook. Very popular social media channel, one virtually everyone here has heard of. But hopefully we can come together to prevent some of the, shall we say, we've had a couple issues with Facebook, and it affects all of us because of this algorithm change that we're going to talk about in just a couple of minutes. And so we want to make sure folks are tuned into that as well, and we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes here. Also want to recognize our wonderful web anchor today, Jan Fox, who's in the back of the room today. There she is. She hears her name, she comes running. Jan is a 4-time Emmy winner. She was an NBC affiliate in Portland, Maine as the #1 anchor, which is awesome. The ABC affiliate in Boston as a talk show host. She was with CBS for 20 years here in Washington, D.C. So those of you local to us today at dhAdvocacy, of course, recognize the wonderful Jan Fox. And she is going to be taking selfies with everybody that would like to, as well as interview you for some of our discussions that we can post afterwards so we can get to know each other a little bit better. This is your platform. Today is about your organizations, and this is an opportunity for Jan to get to know you better. And we're really proud to have her with us, and we know that she's the right person for this job, and we're thrilled to have her anchoring as a pillar of our live web stream that's coming to you all at home, at your desk, on your couch, in your bed, or all three. You could tell I'm projecting for the days when I work at home, right? That's generally my 3 workstations, my desk, my couch, and my bed. Anyway, we have now, before we get into the meat and the potatoes of today's agenda, it was important to all of us at Global Healthy Living Foundation to take a step back, because when we talk about social media and health advocacy and going viral and making a splash, there is one and only one thing that comes to mind this past year. Can anybody guess what that might be? The Ice Bucket Challenge. I think that we wouldn't have the opportunity to stand up here with credibility talking about social media and health advocacy if we didn't tip our hat and give a nod to the folks at the ALS Association. And we've got just a short clip here from the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge as a recap that will, I think, take all of us back to those hot, lazy days of summer where it was inescapable and it was all over all of our news feeds and in all of our faces in the most spectacular way. It made me smile, and I know it probably did for you as well. So why don't we run that video here?
Before this summer, most people weren't talking about ALS. All it took to change everything was a challenge.
We're gonna do this ice bucket challenge.
I accept the challenge.
Challenge accepted.
No one could have predicted this amount of attention for ALS. But we're incredibly grateful to everyone who was willing to stand up to a disease that steals your ability to walk, talk, and even breathe before it takes your life.
And I'm happy to donate to this very worthy cause.
We can create awareness and change.
Let's do this.
Every video, every share, and every donation contributed to the greatest outpouring of support our cause has ever seen. On behalf of people living with ALS and their families, thank you.
And I know all of us at Global Healthy Living Foundation and our partners want to truly give a nod and a sincere appreciation to the ALS Association for being on the receiving end of such a massive tsunami of attention and awareness that, if nothing else, demonstrates the awesome power of the internet and just how flammable it is, because man, one spark and that thing takes fire, and suddenly you've got every celebrity you've ever loved and every celebrity you probably don't like still doing it and raising awareness. So to Jason Harris, who's here from ALS Association, and Steve Gibson, who is here as well. We're going to have a chance to talk to them a little bit later. We'll learn from them with Jan talking about what some of their policy and advocacy priorities are, and what do you do after you win the social media lottery, as basically that Ice Bucket Challenge demonstrates. And we say this with true appreciation and real just, it's very impressive. So to them, thank you for being here and for taking this discussion to the next level, because yes, we're all aware of that Ice Bucket Challenge, but now is the time we can get into the nitty-gritty and what it means to have this type of support and then how you apply it to your advocacy and your policy priorities. Okay, time now for the interactive section of our dhAdvocacy Summit, and that means poll everywhere. And so what we're going to do first here, as this comes up on the screen, is we're going to do a poll about Facebook, because I think this will give us an opportunity to test out everybody's comfort level with this technology, because if you haven't seen this yet, you are going to see this virtually everywhere you go in the future to a conference like this. It's very simple. What we've done here and what we'll have throughout the day are a series of questions for you, and this is an opportunity for you to take out your smartphone, or if you have your laptop, if you're watching at home, of course, you can go to Poll Everywhere, POLLEverywhere.com/dhAdvocacy. Very simple URL, but more importantly, for those of you here in the room today, we'd like you to take out your cell phones, because what we're going to do here now is text either 61367 or 61967. 61367 if the answer is yes to the question, does your organization use Facebook? And 61967 is the answer no to the question, does your organization use Facebook? And you text those codes to 22333. So we're trying to make it easy. I know it sounds a little complicated, but it's important that we just do this and follow along here, because you're going to want to text either 61367 for yes or 61967 for no to 22333. And we're going to take a minute here while I fill the time with the extemporaneous jocularity to collect everybody's results instantly. As you text, the results get here. We are not going to be surprised with this answer, by the way. We did this on purpose as a test. So the question is, there we go, does your organization use Facebook? If you do, your organization use Facebook, text 61367 to the number 22333. You just do a new text message to 22333, and the answer will either be yes, 61367, or no, 61967, for us to register your poll, your vote, as to whether or not your organization currently uses Facebook. We're going to give it just a couple of more seconds. If you're tuning in online, of course, it's polleverywhere.com/dhAdvocacy. And the voting on that website is a lot easier than texting to 22333, either the number 61367 or 61967. And by the way, I have a tremendous new appreciation for Drew Carey and the work he does at The Price is Right, because this type of explanation of how anything works, let alone the game pachinko, is like it's very impressive. But anyway, we're going to take one more second here where the results are pretty obvious. They're very instant. We've got 95% of you are using Facebook, 5% of you aren't. And for those of you, let us be the first to welcome you to the year 2014. It's phenomenal. I think you'll love the future. It's got a lot of good things. Now we're down to 4% versus 96%. The results are flying in now, so it's really happening. One last time I'll say, and by the way, we only have 75 more of these questions, so we're going to do great. Kidding. 22333 is where you want to text. It's either yes that you use Facebook, 61367, or no, you don't use Facebook, 61967. And I just can't stop because the results keep coming in. If only we could vote for our elected officials this way. Wouldn't that be fun on primary night to have live voting? God forbid we could actually use technology like this in the future. But I actually am very hopeful it'll happen. Wow, so the numbers have shifted even further in favor of Facebook. 98% of the organizations a part of today's event use Facebook. 2% don't. Again, for those that don't, good to have you here. This is the chance for you to learn. But I think we're going to cut it off there. We've gotten critical mass. Wow, there you have it. The no kidding answer that we were looking for. But that means we all know how to use poll everywhere because it's going to come in handy in just a couple of minutes. But here's why this matters. As some of you may be aware, there has been a recent algorithm change to Facebook. As Amanda had mentioned in our earlier Social Media 101 workshop, that there's something called a news feed, as you're all aware of. So when an organization like yours, like ours, with Creaky Joints, for example, it's got about 75,000 patients with arthritis. They've liked Creaky Joints for a reason, because they want information, they want support, they want updates, they want alerts, they want recalls, they want anything we can give them. But Facebook, back in March, earlier this year, dramatically changed its algorithm. And it did this in an effort to raise revenue for Facebook. And what that means is no longer do the posts that we as our organization or you as yours, the 98% of the groups that are here today, when you put something out on Facebook, you have to then promote it by paying to sponsor that promotion so it reaches more people within your group who have liked your organization, specifically to get information from your organization. And we've seen that the reach and what gets into the newsfeed of the people who elected to like us has plummeted. And it's gone down to as little as 1% of the people that we have within our group that want to and have elected to receive information if we don't advertise or sponsor or promote that link that we put into our group. And This is not good. I know that's a little bit of Captain Obvious, but here's how that is going to impact all of us. Whether you're a healthcare organization, as we are here today, representing patients or caregivers or doctors or nurses or other allied health professionals, either way, it's a safe assumption that with the exception of now the ALS Association, you don't have the money to promote all the posts that you want to promote. We did the math at our shop for Creaky Joints, and we're talking about an average of about $20,000 a week that we would have to spend in advertising just to get back to the reach and the engagement that we had organically before the March algorithm change. So we created a change.org petition, and we have to strongly encourage everybody to sign it. Here is that link. And what we'd like for everybody to do, not just to sign the change.org petition, but of course, ironically, use all social media channels afforded to you to circulate this petition and to ensure that others can sign it as well. And here's where we want to go with this at the end of the day. We just want to work with Facebook. We want Facebook to come to the table and to acknowledge that their change in the algorithm has really hurt a lot of people living with a lot of different conditions in our healthcare world. But if we step out of healthcare and we move into religion, and there are church groups or synagogues or mosques or other organizations that want to reach their community, they can no longer do it. If we step out of religion and we move into the school and the education environment, there are a lot of school districts that just want to promote a Halloween event that's coming up next week or in 2 weeks that can no longer reach the people that they want to reach or that they deserve to reach because those people elected to like that Facebook page. And that's why we need Facebook to really grow up and to have the opportunity to acknowledge that nonprofits all around the world are suffering as a result of this algorithm change, and we want to have a solution. We want to model it after something along the lines of what Google's done, where Google will afford nonprofits like ours the opportunity to use ad grants, for example, and there's a certain amount of free advertisement that's made available to nonprofits once they prove that they are nonprofits. That's one solution. We could think of 3 others. The point is, when we hit critical mass, and thanks to all of you on this change.org petition who have already signed it or will circulate it to your colleagues, we know that that will at very least get the attention of those that we need to get the attention of, not just at Facebook, but perhaps on Congress, perhaps within the regulatory environment and elsewhere, so that we can all work together for a solution. So I'll just give everyone an opportunity here. This is for those of you tuning in at home. For those here, it's change.org/p/keep-facebook-free-for-non-profits. There's the link. But it's on our dhAdvocacy.org homepage. It's on our ghlf.org homepage. Please circulate it. This is our last appeal to you. So we've got a couple other poll everywhere questions, primarily for us now to understand a little bit more on an issue that is important to us within the confines of GHLF, but we know is an issue to a lot of other organizations out there who are taking medicine to treat serious chronic, long-term, often systemic conditions, and they're using a biologic. And GHLF was early, about 5 years ago, talking about the issue of biosimilars and what's coming in our future. Again, another issue that, for example, with the Poll Everywhere technology, if you're not familiar with biosimilars, we guarantee you will be in the future. But we thought we'd take just a second here and ask a couple of questions of the group. First one being, do you know what a biosimilar is? And don't worry, this is a completely anonymous poll. All you have to do is text to 22333 whether you know what a biosimilar is. And if it's yes, you do know what it is, it's 55405. And if it's no, it's 62906. Do you know what a biosimilar is? And for those of you tuning in at home, it's polleverywhere.com/dhAdvocacy. Do you know what a biosimilar is? If you do, text to 22333, the code 55405. Yeah, I know what it is. If you don't, 2233, the code 62906. No, I don't know what it is. And the results are flooding in here, and we're seeing about 3/4 of the folks here, a little bit more, do not know what a biosimilar is. And that's entirely okay. This is really for the group's benefit here, closer to 70, 69, 31. And it's fun. Now I really do feel like it's election night, and we're looking at results in highly contested districts here. Boy, wouldn't that be fun? Great. So I think what we'll do is jump onto the next question here. We've got 2 more in this area, because this is really giving us an opportunity to engage everybody using technology, and it's a lot of fun. Because the question next is, do the people your organization represents take or prescribe a biologic or a biosimilar? And if they do, you want to text to 22333, the code 19008. If they don't take it or prescribe it, I know we have a lot of physician societies, a lot of professional groups in attendance today and at home, and if biologics or biosimilars in the future are not something that your members, your organization prescribes, then the answer is no, and text that to code 22333, and that number is 19336, 19336 for no. So again, those of you at home, polleverywhere.com/dhAdvocacy. And if the folks your organization represents, either patients or prescribers, take or prescribe biologics, to the code 22333, you want to text 19008. And to the folks who don't take or prescribe a biologic, the answer to 22333 would be 19336. Worth noting that standard text messaging rates apply. Check with your carrier for more details. Sorry for not saying that earlier. But again, the good thing about 2014 is pretty much all of us got hosed by the carriers for text messaging a couple years ago, and now we have unlimited text, or at least we do. God, remember that first bill you opened up and you're like, 800? How can that be? Well, I do. All right, cool. So we're looking at, again, 3/4 of you represent folks who either take or prescribe a biologic, which is interesting, juxtaposed to that last answer, whereas 1/4 of you don't. And then the last question here in this batch, this is a lot of fun, by the way, it's technology. It's just going to be a really cool day. How convinced are you that social media can impact biosimilar safety and transparency and just overall knowledge at this point as biosimilars are introduced in the near future? This is a key question, because what this does is allows us to use a very specific example. We picked it out of the hat here and wanted to take biosimilars as a quick discussion point. And using social media, will it impact safety, transparency, just education, yes or no? Because now we get to put the rubber to the road, and you can either say not convinced at all, which is the one on the far left, to 22333. You want to text code 19677. If you're somewhat convinced, to 22333, you want to text the number 19679. And if you are very convinced, and if you have a high degree of confidence that social media can impact, in this case, for example, biosimilar safety and transparency and education, I added that part, as biosimilars come down the pike in the near future, you want to text to 22333, the code 19680. Boy, wouldn't it be easier if we all had laptops and can go to polleverywhere.com/dhAdvocacy. It's just one click. And again, your responses are completely anonymous, but they show us some very instructive stuff here. And that is, in this last question, I'll repeat it one last time. How convinced are you that social media can impact biosimilar safety and transparency as they're introduced in the near future? If you're not convinced at all, like the fellow 1% of you, not financially related, the 1% of this group has said not convinced, and that's 19677 to the code 22333. Text it to 22333. If you're somewhat convinced, still on the fence, you want to text the code 19679. And then lastly, if you are very convinced, as 88% of you are, that social media can impact biosimilar safety and transparency in education as they're introduced in the future, that code is 19680. And at this point, given these three questions, and we appreciate, kind of coming out of left field with them, if social media can impact, or if we're convinced that this can impact a discussion this complicated, social media can do anything. And that's why we're excited, because we're going to use it to help patients we represent, to help prescribers and other healthcare professionals you represent, to incorporate the newest technology and the treatments that we have available to us in the safest, the most transparent, and the most understood way possible. So yay for social media. It does a lot more than find single people dates on a Friday night. It actually has an opportunity to dramatically improve the quality of the lives of the people we represent and within the entire healthcare framework. So that's all for these last couple of polls here. We appreciate everyone's participation. We're going to have a bunch more of those in a couple of minutes.